This is standard interview problem. WhatsApp design.
Yeah, I think so. So basically, the basic assumption, the functional requirement I am assuming is one-to-one message, one-to-one chat, and one is group chat, right? And non-functional, I guess. It should be highly available. Then it should be uh, eventual consistent, I guess. We need consistency, but it can be some delay is okay, right? So that's because of this. I'm guessing it should be eventual consistent. So should I directly start, or do we have to add anything in function requirement more that we have to cover?
Anyone has any questions? Any
The voice calls or video calls, is it required or?
Uh, so we can do that. So I thought we will cover that while doing the Zoom.
so maybe Abhishek just write the requirements
Sure,
and what will cover and what will not cover, right? In this
sure, sure.
scope.
So video one-to-one video call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
voice call and video call. Yeah.
Read receipts.
Okay, read receipts.
Media.
Sending all types of messages like multimedia messages also apart from text messages.
Okay, multimedia messages. Anything else?
Status
Also, when
status updates. Status.
Yeah.
Status updates. Okay, notification you are seeing.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
the,
the status,
Che-
like whenever you put some status, everybody can see that, right? Like broadcasting.
Checking if the person is online or not. This person's online status.
online status.
the
I
push
did this. I think this
uh,
is story updates, right? Status.
Yes, story. Yeah.
Okay.
what is that is when the user profile we and the function
Sorry, your voice is bit broken.
Voice is breaking, so
okay.
maybe rejoin or something. Talk about push notification service as well.
Notification service.
When the user profile and
Amol, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Just rejoin.
You can tell me in the chat also. It's fine. Okay.
Guys,
Okay.
let's keep this recording as concise as possible. Okay. No noise, so that just in case we watch it later. Okay. To the point things.
Anything more you guys want to add? Let me know.
I think we're good.
Okay. So let's start. Let's start with the basic chat functionality. Then we can move to group chat, then voice call, one by one. Okay.
So maybe basically, guys. So what we are aiming here is right. So in like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger or anything, right? So in any normal interview, you get around 45 to 1 hour maximum, right? So you can't cover all the features, right? So maybe one-to-one group chats, right? Read receipts, right? So these are one of the primary use cases which we should cover, right? And whatever the interviewer says right over that, obviously we'll have to cover those, right? So what I feel is if we are covering one to, so I mean the objective is like maybe we can leave voice call for this, right? The stories updates we can leave, right? Those two things maybe we can leave for now.
Hello.
Yeah, Mol, tell me.
Yeah, I was saying that one feature like when the receiver internet is off and we send him message and when he switch on back his
Yeah,
internet he gives.
I will cover that in one-to-one chats.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
I will cover all the corner cases and all kind of cases in this. So should I start?
Yes, please go.
Okay. So assuming this is a highly available system, lot of traffic will be there. So I won't go into the calculation because this is chat system. It should be highly available. And if we are considering WhatsApp kind of systems, obviously millions of the concurrent user will be active at a time, and billions of the user on monthly basis. So going much into the calculation, we can focus on the functionality and how we can make it into create it on a larger scale. So basically, if we are focusing on one-to-one chat, so what comes in mind? Let's say this is your client. This is your client, and you have uh, basically the basic system, some kind of what you say LB or something, and you will have the APIs. Like I will go into the API endpoints later on. Duplicate, it's not there. Duplicate. Okay. So basically, whenever we make call from the client, so client could be your phone, like Android phone or iPhone, anything. And whenever you make a connection with one of the API, so API endpoint, what we are discussing over here is anything. Let's say b- get messages. Okay, and in this, we'll go into much detail like how we can get messages, because in the client you have the client ID. Client ID is basically, let's map the client ID to phone number, and let's map it from user ID, something like that. Then to user ID. Basically, one message anyone getting the message from some user, right? Let's say I'm one of the phone numbers, and I want to get message from the user. So obviously, there.
We can call this API to be send messages, right?
Sure, sure. Yeah, makes sense. The naming should be send messages. Yeah. So
Send.
send message. Then there will be a message content also, something like that. And I think this endpoint will be used while sending a message from one phone to one connection to another connection. So in case of FB Messenger, it will be your friend, while in case of WhatsApp, it will be some other phone number. So what you guys can see, one thing, that how we can make call using this API. So what comes in the mind, because the messages are pretty fast, and if we try to use HTTP connection over here, so opening a new connection and closing a new connection, it will add obvious latencies, because it will be then pull based mechanism where you will try to sync from the server if you get any new messages or not. So one thing comes in the mind if you are trying to use HTTP connection is long hanging HTTP connection, where you will keep on checking whether a new message arrived for your client or not, and using the same and another connection to send a message to particular phone number. So what challenge do we have in this kind of design? What I am seeing over here, if you go via HTTP connection, you will see it will make a connection to one of one of what you say node. So this is one of the node. Similarly, multiple connections. Let's say one of the user is another. You are trying to send the message to another user. Then again, it will try to open a new connection, and it will make a connection to another user. So if you see, it is kind of resource hungry also on your end, because you will keep opening this message from one this user to one any server, and you will try to listen like any new message is coming for you or not from any particular what you say user, a phone number. So what happened in the end, there will be lot of open HTTP connection will be there from your client to the server. So let's say if you are if you thinking on the perspective of WhatsApp, so many clients will be there because multiple users are online at a time, like million of the users. So keeping this much open connection from the server is not going to phase out. So what we will try to do, we need something where we can communicate in the bi-directional, where we can send the message to the server and directly we can also receive the message from the server. So bi-directional thing, whenever bi-directional channel flow comes in the mind, then obviously HTTP connection won't will won't be suited for this kind of use cases. So we can go on WebSocket. Anything on WebSocket, like why we are choosing WebSocket? Any doubt? Like why we
Uh,
need to and fro? We need to receive from server and then from client to server, then server to client, something like that.
Abhishek, one question. So when you are sending a message to one person is sending message to different people. So
Hmm.
do you need, say for example, you are sending message to 4 5 persons. So do
Mhm.
you need 4 5 connections every time?
Yeah, 4 5 WebSocket connection. You need that.
Oh, okay. So, but once you started chatting with them, like the same connection will be prevailed, or you need every connection for every message, a new connection for message, new
Um,
message.
what I think one connection won't do its job. We need a separate connection whenever you're sending a message.
Oh, that would be very expensive, right?
But
That will be expensive. Yeah, that will be expensive. Yeah,
it's
correct.
like one connection per user, right? Not per message.
One connection per user.
Right, one connection per user should be, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. One connection, WebSocket connection per user.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so let's say if you are messaging to 4 5 person, then 4 5 WebSocket connection is needed till nothing goes wrong, like you are connected to internet or you are active on that application.
I think Abhishek, one connection per user, and then like either you're chatting to 4 5 person or a group, right, or a list of groups. I think
Mhm.
that single connection should be able to handle all those messages, I guess.
Yeah, that is what my question. Even one connection is enough to chat to n number of people. I mean, you should not be creating that many
That's what
connections.
Abhishek meant, actually, I guess.
Yeah,
Uh,
make sense. One connection makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, one connection to the server from this user, and the other 4 5 people whom he is messaging, those are connected just by one connection to the server. So server is the one who is managing the messages from this user to the other user.
Yeah, so I think one connection will suffice the need. We can send from one active connection to any user, any message. So I think that makes sense, having one connection per client. Okay, so I think obviously this connection, we need some kind of WebSocket manager in between where we can transfer which that the responsibility of that WebSocket manager is like this client is talking to some client two, and this client two is connected to which node,
Abhishek,
right?
just one more thing. Sorry to interrupt. I
Uh,
mean, so maybe what we can do is functional requirements, non-functional requirements, right? So if you had touched the APIs, right? So maybe just list down all the APIs, right?
okay.
Right, and then after that, maybe the different components of the service, right? So that it will be a little easier for the interviewer also to focus. So send message was one of the API. What other API, guys, you feel maybe you can help?
Okay. So from user ID, if you want to get a message from a particular user, you can have a get message also.
Yeah, receive message.
Receive message, get message, anything. Simple message and then rest abbreviation, get and post put, something like that.
Abhishek, sorry to interrupt. I get message. I think only the user ID should be required, na? Like current user ID.
I think it's not work in that way, because let's say if you are not actively talking to a person which is in your friend list, sometime it take time to fetch the message detail from that particular user. So it seems it happen in both the direction. Get messages also happens, and get message from the what you say actively active chats. If you are seeing that you are actively chatting to some list of user ID, so you will be able to fetch the messages from them in very fast way compared to the one which you rarely
Okay.
talk.
Okay. Okay.
So I think there might be some bifurcation happens in back. So where obviously if you want individual list of the user ID that you are actively talking to some based on some data, obviously machine learning or something, then you will call the get messages. And if you want in a basic way, you can also have get messages where you can get all the messages from the list of the user that you are connected to. So in that case, you just need uh, two user ID, means your user ID only.
Okay, sure. Because that looks like a little heavy, like expensive operation to me. Like I have like say 100 people in my list, and then for each,
Yeah,
I
that's
want.
why that's
Okay,
I took individual one. So based on some data science, you will get the list of ID that you want to fetch the message from.
okay, sure.
Anything on this side? So
Still
I
not clear. Still not clear why we need the from user to, yeah, from user ID.
So basically, I'll just shed some light on this. So what Abhishek wants to communicate here is basically, let's say that there are some recent chats, right? So not that for all the contacts this would be ran, right? So let's say you were having a chat for some three people, right? Some recent people, right? So what we can do is maybe we can invoke this API, right? For those recent people, let's say five people, right? From user ID, like, are there any messages? Are there any messages from this, right? So now Abhishek has not yet mentioned, right? Where is that he's going to put those messages and all that? Maybe that will come later.
yeah. Any doubt on that side? So I will try to utilize some design on this also, like how we will get the user ID, decent user ID and all. So maybe we will have separate service for that, and based on that we will invoke this API. And if we want to keep it simple, so for now we can go with get messages. But the challenge with the get messages is it can become heavy if you are connected to multiple connections. If you have like 1,000 connection with your phone, so it will try to fetch everything
Right.
for
Uh,
that.
right. What about the read receipts? Any API for that? Read or delivered receipts?
Yeah, yeah. So correct. So we can focus on that also.
The APIs, at least quickly, the APIs.
Hmm. Sure. So I think while composing a message, in the message content, we need message ID also to keep the status of the message, that this message is read or not. So we can think we can come on this later. So once we decide the natural flow, like how the things will go on, then we can discuss on the status, like how we will mark this message is being read or not.
Okay, okay, sure,
Sure.
sure. Anything on the group side?
Uh, Maybe we come later. Let's focus on one-to-one chat.
Sure. I mean, I'm just trying to poke in from the
Uh,
perspective of an interviewer. Okay.
no, no, no issue. So group chat will work in kind something in different way. So we'll try to come on that part later. So
Sure.
can we focus on this
Sure.
part first?
Sure.
So basically, so as a client, let's say you are using WhatsApp, so you will go by LB, and there. So I was talking about some kind of WebSocket manager in between. So what is the use of this manager I was talking about? So WebSocket manager will kind of keeping all kind of information, like which client you are talking to. So let's say if you are sending a message to client 2, let's say, and this here you have this client 2, okay, and you are trying to talk to this client 2, and you are trying to send a message to this client 2. So what will happen? This WebSocket manager, whenever you open a connection with some server, it keep that information cached in some kind of database. So we will come on that part later, where we will store those information. So it will keep that information that your client is being connected to uh, which node. So let's say as a client one, I'm not sure why this diagram is not working. Okay, why? Okay, so so let's say as a client one, you created a connection with this node one, and there is a multiple a number of nodes. And this client two, once it initiated the connection, it is connected with WebSocket connection that is present on some port on node two. So one another advantage of having WebSocket connection with some server is like we have multiple ports in the system, like 2 to the power 32 connection you can create from a single computer. So keeping WebSocket connection with some node won't be that much resource hunger compared to HTTP connection. So it makes sense.
What is node here, Abhishek? Can you elaborate?
No, so node is basically the set of API nodes, basically in short, where you have this service written by what this send message will do, how the send message will work. So this is your basically application nodes. Any doubt what this node will do? So all the set of APIs over here will be available on this node, whether it is written in Java or any language.
Okay,
So it,
all the REST endpoints or whatever it is.
yeah,
Okay.
whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in short, I can say that whatever after the load balancer that you have written, right, it's more of a routing layer, basically managing the connection, and that layer is actually whatever that requires, right? That will call different other microservices for other APIs.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of router, you can say, LB.
Kind of
So
around.
we can keep it as a hybrid for now.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
let's say as a client two, so client two is some other client, some another phone number. So once it try to open a connection, what it will do, it will go via in the same way, and it will call WebSocket manager. Via WebSocket manager, it will lands to some endpoint, some node API. So let's say it lands on node two. So what it will do, it will create a connection with a WebSocket connection with node two. Now let's say as a client one, you try to send message with this. So I'm just passing this client from user ID, and two user ID is client two, something like that, and XYG is your message. Let's say for now it's not object or something like that. So what it will do, it will send the message. This message will being passed to WebSocket manager, and this WebSocket manager knows where it needs to send this message to. Like, because whenever you initiate a connection with some node API, this WebSocket manager will cast that information in some what you say some kind of database. I'm not sure some cylinder is available, or some, let's say, Redis or something, where this database will be responsible that client 2 is mapped to node 2, something like that.
So
So uh,
basically a database that will hold the user ID and then the connection object. So
yes,
that mapping.
yeah, that mapping. So it will tells which node your request lands needs to land. So basically, let's say if client 2 want to send the message, same information it will try to check in the Redis. If client 1 is there in this mapping. If client one is there, then it will try to send the message via the same principle. I will come on that principle. So let's go in the ideal way. So client one initiate. So whenever client one comes to your application, it will initiate a connection. It will initiate a connection to some of the API because you are active, you are online. And what it will do, this WebSocket manager store that information in Redis, that this client one connected to node one. Similarly, set of the clients which come online, these set of information will be stored in WebSocket manager with some fast TTL, let's say 5 second, 2 second, something like that. It may be outdated, so it will be kind of near real time, not exactly real time. Okay. And what is the use of this information? Whenever you want to send a message to particular client, this WebSocket manager will do a lookup in the Redis, and it will see this client 2 is connected to node 2. So what it will do, it will make an it will send that particular set of message to this particular node using the same set of HTTP connection. You can say you get using the HTTP connection call. It will be inside VPC, so it won't be a high bandwidth call. It will be a little bit faster compared to over the HTTP call because it will lie in the same VPC. So what will happen? It will send that piece of information to Node 2 API, and this Node 2 is already connected to client 2 with the WebSocket connection. It will send that particular message in the back direction. Any doubt over here? Yes.
So few things
Mhm.
now. So what is that we are kind of storing in Redis? One is that you said the user ID to the connection mapping, right?
Mhm.
Are we also kind of maintaining a online status, right? And at what time that status was kind of updated, because there would be some heartbeat messages that would come, right? Because we have
Mhm.
that online status
Mhm.
requirement as well, right?
Mhm.
So overall, I want to know like what is that you're kind of trying to store in that Redis DB.
Okay, so in the Redis DB, I am just storing that which node is connected to which client. This is it. So how I will, so obviously I said we will set it with some TTL, and that TTL will be near real time. So what can go wrong? That it may contain some stale value, right? So
Right.
what will happen if it will say, let's say client once send the message, and WebSocket manager is saying that client 2 is connected to node 2. But what happens in the real, let's say there is another duplicate, it went offline, and this new connection client 2 is created with the node 3 API. This could be possible, right?
Right.
This WebSocket connection is being connected to Node 3 API, and this is being updated in WebSocket Manager afterwards. You already passed that phase, and you are trying to send the message Node 2 to client 2, right? Getting
Right.
my part? Like you are trying to send the message using this piece of connection, but this connection is not there, right?
Right.
Because now this client 2 is now connected to client 3. I'm just trying you the real scenario, because anything can go wrong, that you are not connected to internet and you connected, you just initiated a new connection, and new connection is happening with some another node. So that could happen. So what will happen in that case? It will try to send the message using the node 2 to client 2, but as no connection exists in between, obviously it won't be able to send that particular message to client 2.
So
Getting my point?
basically, what are you storing in Redis? Like, are you storing what is the client and what is the what which API it is connecting to, or
Yeah, just that server information that is being required to make a call with this WebSocket manager to that particular server.
Okay, and the counter question is, let's say whatever the nodes that are there, right? So
Mhm.
may go down or right by I mean you're kind of fixing
Hmm.
the nodes, right? So
I'm
which
not
is
fixing. I'm not fixing the nodes. Let's say new nodes comes in between, right? Because this is not the persistent database, right? It's just storing to make you call faster, to make a lookup instead of uh, basically do the brute force checking where this connection lies to. So you are making an basically map in the Redis that it tells you that this node is connected to this client. Okay, so I'm just storing that. So obviously, it is possible that you just added a new node that is node 5, let's say example. Okay, so what will happen in the case if anything goes wrong? This message won't arrive to client 2, right? This message gets stuck at the node 2, and node 2 won't be able to send the message to client 2 because client 2 is now not connected to various reasons. So because of so many reasons, whether the client 2 is offline, some broken connection happened in between, anything could be possible due to various number of reasons, it won't be able to send the message to client 2, right? So what will happen in that cases? Should I go in the next part, then you guys can ask question on that part.
Sure.
Sure.
Asha, one point, Abhishek.
Yeah, yeah.
This Node API which you're talking, right? So Node 1, 2, 3. I
Uh-huh.
see more of it as a WebSocket handler, right? Because you are managing the connection in those particular instances,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Obviously.
It's not doing actually API interactions in that boxes.
Yeah, but the piece of code is over here that how you will send the message to client to what this
So
API.
okay, so your connection will also be maintained here, and the like service will also be there, which is
Yeah,
maintaining all this.
service will be there. So it won't be HTTP service, it will be WebSocket service, WS.
Okay, or maybe we can extract out one message service. Just an idea. Cool, cool. Sure, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, I was just going in
Sure,
deep, like
sure.
what will happen. So obviously this message won't arrive. So we need something persistent so that once this client 2 will come online, or once this client 2 is connected to new API, a new API, it will get the message, whatever this client will send that particular message to client 2, right? So we need some kind of database in between where we are making call to this node. We also need some kind of persistent database, like uh, some kind of what you say columnar database. Let's say for now here MySQL. Let's go with the flow. We will come on this part later, like what we can do with the database, which database is suitable for this case, right? So let's say so what will happen? This WebSocket manager will make two calls. One call is with the database. It means sorry, yeah. Uh, it won't make any call to a database. This node service will make another call to database. Just confused. Correct me, guys, if you have any doubt with this. So in database, what it will store these set of information, like what message, which user sent what message to which user, and what is the from user ID to user ID. So obviously in the database we will have user stable, message table, or something like that. So that next time whenever we make a call from the database, we will get the set of the messages which is being sent to that particular user. This makes sense. So what is happening right now? This client one is sending message to WebSocket Manager. WebSocket Manager is not updated, and WebSocket Manager is saying this client 2 is connected to node 2. Okay, and this node 2, so it will make a call to node 2. And this node 2, what it will do, this node 2, because sorry, uh, this arrow is not available right now because client 2 went offline, or client 2 just came online, and it created a new connection with node 3. So what it will do, this piece of code is already there, that on which from which it was trying to make a call to client 2. So that was the WS protocol, WebSocket protocol. But obviously WebSocket connection is not there, so it won't be able to make a call to client 2. But what it will do, it will set that particular piece of information to the database. Okay. So what happened? Whenever a new client make an like initial call, once that particular client comes online, it will make a call to the database where it will call this API, get messages. From these two APIs, it will make a call and will get the messages that are undelivered to this client because of the some issues earlier. Now it get delivered one by one. Does it make sense?
Okay.
Any
But
doubt?
the problem here is that, see, now that client is actually connected to the node 3, right? Now, but we have stored it in the database because we found that at node 2 that connection is not active, right? So we thought that user is inactive, right? So why can't we make another call, right, for that user, since, see, that connection was not active, right? So when we try to send on that connection object, we see, oh, that the connection is not active, right? Why don't we kind of make a call again for this user, get me the connection, right? Because yes, it might have happened that in Redis that connection object or that mapping was old, right? So now we should make another call for that user, because the problem is that when you're storing into the MySQL DB, right, that means we are preparing ourselves that it would take some time, it would take some time for it to deliver, right?
Yeah,
However, that user is already connected, so that
yeah.
it's nothing has changed.
Yeah, but we don't know that user is connected, right? So maybe
um
can reduce that particular case that now this user comes online and that in the connection is changed. So in that case, we again make a call over here for to the Redis using this WebSocket manager and get the new client. That this client three is new the latest client. But I think that is not needed because there might be the case that still this client two is offline, right? So let's say this client two is offline, how you will send the message this to client two without saving this to database.
So my question here is,
Mhm,
because when we were trying to pull out that information, right, that was through the cache, right?
mhm,
Now, since whatever we relied on the cache information, that could
mhm.
have been false, right? We haven't really queried the database, right? The persistent DB, right? Because um, that that's what I'm kind of hinting to.
uh, Again, I didn't get your question. So you are saying this. So I again add a new flow over here. Na? So whenever you initiate a connection with the
Mhm.
some node, so basically first call that you will make is this message call get message.
Okay.
So is there any pending message over there? So I will come on that part, like how this message is being marked
Okay.
active or not. I will come on this part
Sure.
that what was being asked, this read script or anything, read script or anything. So I will come on that part now.
Sure. Sure.
So basically, whenever you make a connection, so let's keep it simple. So whenever you make a connection in the starting, so let's say this client two is now creating a connection and it is again going the same flow that client once goes to, and now this again this is making connection to node 3. So what will happen in the very first call, without sending on anything, it will make an get call. In the get call, it will see which messages are not delivered to this particular user. So obviously, to set the message status, we need message API, which will be post. Okay, and here you will just send the message ID and status, because message ID is unique and it is just identify that you need this message delivered or not. So let's go again with the starting flow. Now everything is, let's say, connected and this information is also updated. I'm just going with the ideal flow, and this client 2 is connected to node 3. So what client 1 will make a call to WebSocket Manager. Now WebSocket Manager will tell this client 2 is connected to node 3 example, and it will make a call to this node 3. Okay, and this node 3 is again making a call to client 2. and this client 2 will again make a call to LB. Sorry, the free flow of is not like draw.io. So again, it will make a call to LB, and is this LB will make a call to one of the node. It will go a little bit faster. I will
Yeah.
answer everything. So this call will be made to this message API, that this message ID is delivered, and the dependency is on while it is receiving the message. So if everything goes in the flow, it is dependent on this flow, this part, whether it is able to send the message or using this API. Let me write this part also so that it will be clear. From user ID, then again, this is client one, sorry, client one, client two, ignore spell mistakes, and then this message object. So I was talking about the message object because it will information the ID also. And this message object will have the information of the message ID. And again, once it will receive this call, this client will trigger, because this client is also a piece of code, right? This is like Android device or something. So this will trigger this call because it is also acting, because this is peer-to-peer connection and this is also acting as a server. So it will make a call this using this API, and it will tell that this message is received and this status is being saved to the database. Any issue, any doubt on this part?
So this read receipt is again an HTTP call you're saying.
Mm, yeah, read receipt is also kind of real time. We can make a WebSocket call.
Yeah, I mean, maybe on that connection itself, right? We
Ah,
can, I mean, we can invoke those APIs. So not necessarily that we have to call those HTTP APIs there.
yeah, makes sense. So let's say this is the WS protocol, and you just make using the same connection. You will make this call, and it will land on some node. Uh, let's say this node.
So when the client two is actually has read the message or the message has delivered, right?
Uh-huh.
Now the server also has to send this to the other user, right? Like I have sent a message to Abhishek, right?
Mhm, mhm.
So
So
basically
mhm,
his device would
mhm.
send a message that the message is delivered. Now the server has to send me that double tick on
Yeah,
my device, right?
yeah.
So it was all happening on the WebSocket connection only, not needed HTTP.
Not needed a new connection. Yeah, so it will be faster. We will use the WS connection every time that we discuss in the starting itself. Any doubt?
I doubt, guys.
What is how do we know that is he read the message or not technically?
So Abhishek explain.
So basically, once this message arrives, I'm assuming that this guy is read. But in real flow, what happens whenever you click on that message? This flow should be triggered. So uh, basically, once this message arrived to client two, so it can come in the notification or in the message, right? Like +1, something like that. So upon clicking that message, this flow should be triggered. So it will be basically the design part of that particular application.
Oh, so when you click on the message, that means that the
You
it,
in real, maybe you have, maybe you not.
That's what happens, right, Venki? So when you get a message, right? So
mm,
if that message has been accepted by your device, right? So your
mm,
device actually sends a message that it has been delivered, right? As long
mm.
as you have not clicked on that message, right? This the other party doesn't get the blue tick.
Correct, correct, correct. But when you keep on charting, you did not you generally don't click, right? You just
Yeah. So
maybe it's a vague question, but I just want to.
correct. So when you are reading, right, when you have scrolled it, right, those events, right, on the mobile device, they are sending the red messages.
Okay, so there is a event driven mechanism here somewhere then, right?
Yes, that the device is controlling. So when you're scrolling or when you're touching that keypad, right? So when you are
Uh-huh.
in that same message, right, when you're touching that keypad, so it sees that okay, this is the user ID that is open, right? So it'll send a read receipt there.
Read receipt. Okay, 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 got it.
Right. I think there can be an internal queue, right? In memory queue, जहाँ पे all these things are getting stored. Like you are traveling in a lift, there is no connection. Once you come out of the lift, it will just push out
Yeah, yeah.
those things.
If we come on the client flow, like client, because many thing is there in the client also. If you send a message, what's happened? If you send a message, you will see some wait sign is over there. So what happened in that part? So let's come on the client part also. So what will happen over there? Over here, this client is basically containing the in-memory queue. Okay, and I'm not sure. So I'm just writing. So in memory queue, so what it will do, whenever you type anything, it will go in the in memory queue first, and from here actually every flows happens. So let's say if you goes offline or your net speed is slow, so you may see that this tick operation is over there, because what will happen, this in memory, you just push the message to in memory queue, but as you are not online, you may not see that tick operation over there.
Sorry,
Getting
repeat
getting
that. If
so
you when
let's say you whenever you type something, so you may see this what watch sign over there uh, in WhatsApp basically. So if you are not offline, you will see that wait sign is over there. Once you come offline, you will see that single tick, then double tick operation once it being received by the client. That's client is online. So basically, the first thing what happens whenever you type a message, it will go to this queue, and from this queue, this flows happen
no
from the.
no 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 single tick comes when the server has received it.
No. I'm not saying single tick. I'm saying the watch side.
Oh,
Watch
the
sign.
watch sign. Okay,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah.
So that's watch sign is basically happens once you push the message to the queue. So basically, to have what you say more available system, what we generally do, we save all the state. So we are making so many calls from the node API. So what we do in general, we generally keep the queue in between. So from we can discuss on that part, but maybe it's not needed. We will discuss if you think we can add more resiliency in this. Then I will go to that part.
Yeah, I think a group message also we should cover a bit if we have some time.
Sure,
One
sure.
more, one more thing that I feel in these API that is missing is basically where is when you are sending or when you update. I want some kind of an offset, right? That till what point I have read or
Okay. Correct. So Pratik, you asked this, right?
yeah, Pradeep, yeah.
Okay. So this makes sense. So I was coming on that part. So correct. So this can happens in between that due to some inconsistency, order can break, right? So let's say example. So if you are sending client one to client two, okay, and due to some issue, this because you are making call to WebSocket manager, then WebSocket manager making call to Node API. So maybe whatever you type, order can break. So let's say you type something and that first message is still traveling due to latency or anything to this Node API, and then you type something, and due to that latency happened due to network congestion or anything, this arrived earlier to this node API, because WebSocket manager can't be a single system, so it will be a big system. So this can happen, this inconsistency can happen. and this node 2 will send that second message in faster way to client 2, so that order can break whatever you type. Any doubt on this part? Like so let's say you send hi example, and this hi is traveling to node 2, and due to network congestion it first because WebSocket manager is also a service, so it land on some the node, and that node was going to, due to some um, high network throughput or due to some memory congestion or network congestion, it lands on node 2 later, while after hi you write Delhi. So this Delhi arrive earlier on node 2. So it will go client 2 first, then hi will come later, right? So it will become Delhi hi instead of hi Delhi. Does
So
it make,
how
does
the
it?
handling will happen then?
Yeah, so I was coming on that part.
Okay, sure, sure.
A good question. Thanks for Pratik for bringing this out. So what will happen? So what we do now? So we don't make a direct connection, direct call to any nodes over here. We, to maintain the consistent state in between, what we do, we put this queue over here. So this queue can be Kafka or something, some kind of distributed queue, distributed system. And what will it will do based on your so let's say it have multiple topics. So let's say message topic is there, example. Okay, so what it will do, it will push. So obviously this is distributed system, so it will have multiple partition. Does it make sense?
Okay.
So let's say this queue is having 3 partition, example. So what it will do, the first flow, so instead of making direct webhook call to node 1 to node 2 or WebSocket manager to this, what we will do, let's say you make an call to this WebSocket manager, and this WebSocket manager save this information to queue instead of making direct call to node 2, let's say. So what will happen, this queue can maintain the order. How? So
But
let's say
that is what you are already maintaining in with the Redis, right?
Redis, in Redis we are making just maintaining the connection, right?
Okay, what
How
about the
how
queue?
how it will ensure the, I just have a doubt, like how you think it will solve the ordering problem, this Redis?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because Redis is just here for telling you that this node is connected to this client,
Yeah, it's a cache kind of thing.
cache kind of thing, right? So instead of making, so I'm still using this Redis information, but instead of making webhook call from WebSocket manager to particular node, what I will do, I will put that information in the using that information and put that message to the Kafka. So let's say Kafka have 3 partition, okay, and I have the partition. I will use partition key as the node IDs. So let's say what happened, because we know in the Kafka, ordering is the issue, but it is ordered in the same partition. So let's say partition not have 3 information, node 1, node 2. Example, I'm just guessing anything. It can be in different order. Order doesn't matter over. So let's say partition 1 is because it's a big system, so it can happen node 10 to 13 is here. Similarly, partition, many partition can be there, right? Partition 2 have node. So what I'm trying to do, I am just trying to maintain the order using the Kafka. So I'm just thinking like how we can shard and what should be the route key so that all the order should be maintained in the Kafka. So what I will do over here, I will maintain a Kafka. I will push all the message information in the message queue where I will use this node information as the routing key. So what will happen for node 3, all the message will be in order. Similarly, for node 4, all the message will be in order, whether it lies on partition. Because let's say node 1 always, if node 1 first time goes to partition not, always it will go to partition not, right? Because node 1 is route key, and partition happens based on the key. Sorry, routing happens based on the key. Does it make sense?
But that can also change, right, Abhishek? If like connection client close the internet and then comes back, then he can connect to different node, right?
Yeah, that. So in that case, this flow will work, na? Pull get message flow, right? Because whenever you make and call to the system, what it will do, it will make get message call first. So whatever message is undelivered, so
Okay,
this
that way.
this flow won't be relevant in that case, because this flow is just for the quick message delivery. This is it.
Got it.
For the persistent message delivery, MySQL or any persistent database is there. So we can discuss on that part, whether we
Okay,
go uh, uh, what you say, columnar database or something like that, or relational database.
sure,
So
sure.
we,
Yeah,
yeah.
So one thing, Abhishek, so those get message or get messages API, right? I feel
Mhm.
that another argument that is missing is
Mhm.
basically after what message ID you want to get the messages, right? When you say get messages, get me all the messages, right? It's
Because it's the consumer group, Pratik, na? So consumer group maintains the offset till what you read the offset. It's per partition, right?
So get
uh,
message can be a paginated call also. Cannot be a paginated call like 10 like latest 10 messages or like latest
No,
20 messages
I'm
can be.
just saying, leave the just go in the Kafka way. Kafka maintain the offset per consumer group that
no,
till.
but then why do I want to get into all that, right? See, when my device knows, right, till
Mhm.
what point it has actually maybe got the message, right? If I just pass that message ID, right, so that what happens is whatever the messages that are stored there, right,
Mhm.
beyond that point it can give me. That's a simple argument to add, right?
Okay. So
Pratik, sorry,
uh,
please go ahead.
so you are saying, let's say I am sending some message ID to client two. So
No, no,
this.
no, 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 no. So this get messages, right? So
Mhm.
what you're saying,
Mhm.
I feel there is another argument that we can add, which is like get me the messages after this point.
That is not needed. No? We are already maintaining the status, right? So all the message that is undelivered, we will simply send it.
Okay.
What
I
is the
think
issue?
that you can maintain on server or DB level, right? Because if you change the device, then like only new one, undelivered one should come to you.
I'm just talking. I'm not talking in WhatsApp point of view. I just think on the Facebook Messenger also. So it's a persistent thing. It maintains all the messages, right?
Mhm.
So if you don't want to maintain anything, you need not to have this MySQL DB. You can simply put everything in the Kafka with some TTL or some another database with the TTL. You don't need. Maybe you can have this MySQL database also, but with some TTL that after this message, I want to store any. After 30 days, we will be discarding all the messages or delete all the messages from the system. This is what WhatsApp do, right? So if your message is long undelivered, it will simply delete it. So you, if you are logging from new device, you won't get any new messages, right?
Sure.
So I'm just talking general flow. Like in Facebook, if it is persistent, it will always tells you that this message is undelivered and that is being delivered to you.
Okay. Okay.
Any doubt, Pratik, on this part, or anyone? Like why we are maintaining? So instead of so basically we are just trying to make more available system, and also like in many things can go wrong in case of webhook calls. So we are just trying to make a kind of consistent connection also with the help of Kafka. Consistent call in terms of ordering. So we are using Kafka. Does it make sense? And how the Kafka will maintain the order uh, using these keys, and these keys we will get from the web service manager.
Acha, one question, little out of the topic. Uh, I mean, in one of the interview, I got this question. I don't know the answer kya exactly. कि like
Hmm.
how you will choose that how many partition you require in Kafka?
Okay. Okay, so it's totally depends like how much bigger system is there and how many available regions are there. So basically, you do it on the regional basis, right? And this is also depends on how many daily messages are there that you send in the Kafka. So more number of shard make it more faster. If you have the lesser number of shard, what it will happen? It will so let's say you arrive on some conclusion that this is the number of messages daily you get, or this is the number of system you get in terms of size, RAM, or everything. So what you will do, you will try to keep everything in less. So you won't focus on the vertical scaling part. So what you will do, you will just increase the number of shard and you will try to make the system compact. So more number of shards make more sense in terms of highly scalable system in general rule.
Right, right. But like if you increase it a lot to a lot of partition, then a lot of file write and all those things happen, and then it might go slow also. But yeah, I think that that's a reasonable.
Yeah, so available, so many available regions are there. So
Right.
obviously availability also happens based on the region. So you will do it on the geographical basis, and you will also see how many number of nodes are daily increasing, because
Mhm.
you are maintaining the node information, node order information in this Kafka queue, right? So whatever you just store over here,
Got it.
uh, if the number of connection increase, you need to increase the partition also.
Sure, sure. Makes sense.
Sure. Abhishek, in the interest of time, right? Let's see what is that we have covered, right? So one-to-one chat, right? Group
Yeah.
chat we haven't. Voice chat we'll leave it for now. Read receipts we did.
Uh,
Multimedia messages.
Group left for now, so I think maybe we can cover
Yeah, yeah.
time. But I covered, I
Online
mostly
status.
I covered all this read receipts
Yeah, yeah.
and one-to-one chat, I think.
Okay, group chat is one thing. Maybe another 5 minutes or 10 minutes if you can just talk about at high level the multimedia messages and the notification service. When is that is going to come into picture and all that?
So flow and everything will happen in the same way. In the multimedia messages, you just save all the information to CDN, just to fetch it in the faster way, and you will also store what you say the information on your system where that you stored it. So other than that, everything all the flow will be same.
So
Even
how are you optimizing for multimedia message? So let's say I have some photo to send to you, right? So
uh,
why?
first thing what you will do, you will apply the compression technique over the client side.
Mhm,
And in the client, let's say so if you see WhatsApp compress the image, right?
mhm,
So you will basically apply some algorithms. So many compression algorithms are available in the
yeah.
market. For the one which will make without basically compromising the quality, you will choose one. And
Mhm,
after compressing it, compressing will happen on the client side only. After
mhm.
compressing it, you will save it to some CDN, and you will save that particular address to the basically creating a new table where you can save the
So
multimedia.
why? So my question is like why CDN in every flow, right? See
Mm.
something which is
Mm.
not trending or something which is not being sent high, right? Let's say I have something to send to you just personally, right? Why do I want a copy on CDN then?
CDN is nearer to your geographical location, right? So it will save to the so whenever you try to read it, it will basically you can get that information faster. So that's why. So even if you go for the private images on Facebook or WhatsApp, it is being saved to CDN. So because of higher availability based on geographical location, basically we use CDN.
Um, not of not on the same page because I mean
Okay.
something which is accessed more frequently at high the usage is high, right? So though with those things we go to CDN, right? So why not, like when I am sending something to you,
Hmm.
right? When I send a message to you, right?
Mhm.
Why can't the server take that message, right? Put it on, let's say,
Yes.
S3, right?
Yeah.
And send that message, right? To you in the form of a URL, right? And with that, in that message,
Got it.
the thumbnail.
Yeah, instead of CDN, we will store it to the S3 object storage.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense actually. But what I have seen, I am maybe don't know the reason for it, but I am seeing even the private photos are being saved to CDN. So
Okay, okay.
I maybe S3 gives you the guarantee that it always save nearer to your geographical location, or is
So,
it in the available?
so no, so now the thing is basically that the server can optimize, right? Which region you are in, right?
Mhm.
That to that region S3 can save,
Mhm.
right? So those things the server should be able to manage. Anyways, like when you're talking about CDN, right? That the server will decide, right? Where is the user to?
Yeah, yeah, makes sense, makes sense. Okay, I think yeah,
Yeah.
agree with your point.
Uh, Anything on notification service?
So notification service basically we have to write extra service on the top. So this flow will also go, but we also need to send the notification like if you are not online, let's say, and someone is sending you some message, right?
Mm-hmm.
So somehow you need to. So let's say this can be happen on the client side. So client can tell you that this mass you are not actively using this application right now. So what will happen in that case, there must be some kind of what you say push notification or some kind of service which will be pushing that to the android message uh, group. I'm not sure how that exactly is being
Okay,
used.
okay, then I'll just take over from here.
Okay.
So basically, see, use case wise, right, everyone. So what happens is, like, let's say you have killed your WhatsApp, right? Now your WhatsApp is not running, right? So now what happens is you are not sending message, or you can't make a call with that get API or anything, right? So now what happens is Apple has its own Apple push notification service, if you might have heard of, right? Or Google's what is they call GCM, right? Google Cloud Messaging, right? And I think Windows has also something. Okay, but Apple push notification and Google Cloud Messaging. So these are the two notification services, right? So what happens is Google's GCM is for Android. Okay, so let's say we talk about Android. Okay, so what happens is now the WhatsApp sees, okay, there are some messages. Okay, so what it says is it actually sends this message to the Google Cloud Messaging. Okay, so now the thing is there is already a token which this device had registered with this WhatsApp service. Okay, so all these three are connected, like this the WhatsApp Android app, right? Then the push notification service, which is called Google Cloud Messaging, and then the WhatsApp service. Okay, so now WhatsApp service says that I am sending these messages to the Google Cloud Messaging. Okay, and now Google Cloud Messaging, it keeps those messages with it, right? So whenever the device comes online, right, that means you can get connected to net, right? So then what it sends is it sends it to the device. Okay, not to the app. So now there is a background process which keeps listening to that Google Cloud Messaging service, and it sees, okay, this message is actually for the app ID, this for the WhatsApp app, right? So then what happens is it invokes that WhatsApp app and shows your Google messages. Oh, these are my messages that are there. And with those messages, when you click, right, it can launch the app.
Okay.
So this is a very outer idea. Like there's a lot of other things that happens, but yeah, just in short is
I
what.
think we can have a separate session on that.
Yeah, notification service and all that. Okay, so let's wind this up. Okay, for now, maybe Abhishek has to has some guests at his home. So for now, so
I
yeah,
already so no
yeah,
issue.
yeah. Abhishek, you can drop off. I'll just talk to them for
No,
future sessions or anything. So
just continue.
yeah. So guys, this, I mean, hope you liked it, right? And if anybody
Pratik,
of you is,
Pratik, 1 second, okay. Basically, you can stop recording if you want, but
yes, I'll,
basically
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
basically one question, right?
Hmm.
When they ask for the design, right? So